There was a time in my life when I felt like I was standing on the edge of the world, looking out over a vast chasm, unsure whether to take a leap or turn back. But looking back, I now realize that it wasn't a cliff I was standing on, it was a mountain. And I had to climb it, piece by piece, through every struggle, every hardship, and every moment of doubt. That mountain was the struggle that made me stronger. My name is Jim. I'm not anyone special, or at least that's how I used to see myself. I grew up in a small town where everyone knew everyone else's business. We didn't have much, but we had enough. Life was simple, predictable. I had a family who loved me, friends who stood by me, and a quiet, unremarkable path ahead of me. That was the way I saw it. Nothing particularly extraordinary, nothing that made me stand out. I thought I'd just get by, doing what I had to do to survive. But life has a way of throwing you off the path you think you're meant to be on. The first real struggle hit me when I was 22. I had just graduated from college, my degree in hand, full of hope and ambition. I had big plans: get a job in the city, start a career, maybe even find a place of my own. But the reality wasn't what I expected. I spent months sending out resumes, attending interviews, and getting rejected. I watched friends land jobs almost immediately, while I was stuck, sending out yet another application. The frustration ate at me. I felt worthless. The self-doubt was constant, gnawing at me. What's wrong with me? I asked myself over and over. Then, the blow came from another direction. My father fell ill. It wasn't something I could have prepared for. One moment, he was his usual self, and the next, he was in the hospital, fighting a battle no one saw coming. I had to drop everything, the job hunt, the dreams of moving to the city, and take care of him. I found myself juggling between hospital visits, helping my mother manage things at home, and trying to keep up with a life that felt like it was slipping further and further out of my grasp. Those months were some of the hardest of my life. But somewhere in that mess, I realized something important, something that shifted my perspective. I realized that struggle doesn't always break you, sometimes, it's what makes you who you are. During those days, I learned the power of persistence. I learned to not give up when things didn't go the way I wanted them to. Every time I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders, I found a little more strength to carry it. I learned patience, not just with my father's recovery, but with myself. As life slowly started to get back to normal, I thought I had earned my rest. But the universe had other plans. A few months after my father recovered, I lost my mother. She was hit by a car while crossing the street. She wasn't supposed to go yet, not like this. It was another blow that knocked me off my feet. The grief was like nothing I'd ever known. I remember standing at her funeral, feeling the cold wind on my face, but inside, it felt like everything had gone silent. The world kept moving around me, but I couldn't find my footing. I didn't know how to continue. But something in me shifted again. Maybe it was my father, who, despite everything, was still standing by my side. Maybe it was the sheer force of will that had gotten me through all of life's challenges so far. But slowly, I began to rebuild myself. Grief has a way of breaking you, but it also has a way of reshaping you, if you let it. I started to accept that I couldn't control everything. That life was unpredictable, and sometimes, the things you fear the most are the very things that teach you the most. By the time I was 30, I had come a long way from that uncertain young man who had been so afraid of rejection. I had found a job in the city, not the one I had planned for, but one that allowed me to grow. I had learned to embrace change, to take risks, and to trust myself. I had made peace with my past, and with my parents' deaths, and had come to understand that their love still lived on in me, in every decision I made, in every step I took. But life wasn't done testing me. At 32, I was diagnosed with a serious illness. It was a wake-up call, a reminder that health is fragile, and life can change in an instant. I remember the doctor's words, how they seemed to echo in my mind long after the appointment ended. But instead of succumbing to fear or panic, I decided to face it head-on. I threw myself into my treatment, into finding ways to stay positive. I started exercising, eating better, and taking care of my mind as much as my body. And little by little, I started to feel better. That was the turning point for me. I realized that strength doesn't come from avoiding hardship. It comes from embracing it, learning from it, and using it to grow. Every struggle I had faced, every moment of doubt, every loss, they were all building blocks. They had shaped me into someone I never thought I could be. A person who could look adversity in the face and keep moving forward. A person who no longer feared the unknown, because I knew that whatever came next, I had the strength to overcome it. At 35, I found myself standing on a new kind of mountain. Not one of hardship, but of possibility. I had built a career I was proud of, found a partner who loved me, and was in the best shape of my life, both mentally and physically. The old version of me, the one who felt lost and uncertain, was a distant memory. I was stronger now, not just because of what I had survived, but because of what I had learned along the way. And that's what I would tell anyone who's struggling, who feels like they can't go on, who's staring down an uncertain future. Your struggles are not there to break you. They're there to make you stronger. Every challenge, every loss, every moment of doubt is shaping you into the person you're meant to be. So don't run from it. Embrace it. Climb your mountain, one step at a time, and when you reach the top, you'll see that the view is worth every ounce of effort it took to get there. Because, like me, you'll realize that the struggle isn't just something you get through. It's the very thing that makes you stronger. And that strength, once you find it, becomes the foundation for everything else in your life. So, when the storm comes, and it will, remember this: the struggle is not the end. It's the beginning of something greater than you ever imagined.